Today's video is going to be a little bit different. We're not going to review any gear or throw any knives. Instead, I thought we'd talk about 5 factors that I think are really important, if not critical, to think about and understand if you carry any kind of concealed weapon. And hopefully this video will spur you to some self-reflection as it did me as I was planning it. That's what's coming up next here on Survival on Purpose. Welcome back to Survival on Purpose. My name's Brian. Thanks for joining me. As I said, today we're going to talk about 5 factors I think anybody who carries any kind of a concealed weapon needs to consider and be familiar with. And we're going to do that right after this word from today's video, sponsored by my friends at Hog Holsters. Today's video is sponsored by Hog Holsters. Hog Holsters are made in the USA in Arizona, and they are without a doubt the most comfortable concealable holster I've ever tested. You can save 10% on your order at Hog Holsters by using the coupon code Survival on Purpose, all one word. That's hogholsters.com. Thanks to Hog Holsters for sponsoring today's video. Okay, we're back. I'm going to try to not be too wordy because I just heard my grandson come in and I got to go see him. So let's see if we can get to this. I think there are 5 factors which are really important for anybody who carries a concealed weapon to think about. And I'll be honest with you, for a lot of years, I didn't think about these things. I wasn't serious about it. I just had a gun. I've been carrying a gun for years and years and years, and I thought I was good to go. I saw a video from who turned out later to be a good friend of mine, James Yeager. And the first video I saw of him, it really frustrated me. I got mad. I thought, who does this guy think he is? He's calling me an amateur. And then I realized, you know what? I am an amateur, and that is not acceptable to me any longer. So I got to get it together, and I started my journey of training. So actually at Tactical Response with James Yeager, took fighting pistol there, and that was a start of a lot of other training that I wound up and still am doing over the years. So I highly encourage you to do that. So let's get to these 5 factors. The first factor I think is really important is your mindset. And some of those things you need to think about, I'm going to go through these pretty quickly, is you need to recognize we have a responsibility to be competent as somebody who carries a dangerous weapon. If you're going to carry something that's as dangerous as a gun or even a knife, then you have a responsibility to yourself and those around you to be competent. I really believe that. And you also have a responsibility to yourself to be honest with yourself about your current capabilities and skill levels. Don't con yourself like I did. Be honest with yourself and take a hard look and maybe make some of those hard admissions to yourself that maybe I'm not as competent as I think. Along those lines, you also have to think about one thing you really need to get in your head, I think, in advance, is where is the line that cannot be crossed? Where is the trigger which is going to cause me to need to use this weapon and potentially take some violent action? And that may be different for everybody, but I think if you need to establish that in advance, so in the situation, if it happens, you're not hesitating and thinking, okay, what is this it? Is this it? Go ahead and try as much as possible to establish that in your mind. Another concept and factor of mindset is your awareness. You need to just be an aware person. You need to maintain a good situational awareness all the time. That doesn't mean being paranoid. That just means being aware. You may be familiar with Jeff Cooper's color code, white for being unprepared and unaware. The stereotypical somebody walking around with their face in their phone, walking around not paying attention to anything. The next level would be yellow, which is just alert, prepared, and relaxed. That means you're not paranoid, you're not stressed out, but you're just paying attention. You're paying attention to people around you and the situations around you. You're very, very situationally aware, which allows you to go into orange if necessary, which means that you're alerted to a potential problem or danger and you are prepared to take action. The next level would be red, which means, yep, there's a problem and my line has been crossed. Now I'm going to take quick, violent, immediate action to resolve the situation. And some people say there's a black level, which that's basically panic, and you don't want to be there because everything breaks down. Another factor I think that is really important is de-escalation. You need to be focused on de-escalation. Swallow your pride. You don't have to prove anything to anybody. Just the best way to win any fight is to not be in it. Even if you didn't do anything wrong, just apologize. Hey, I'm sorry, my bad. What can I do to fix it? Again, swallow your pride and what'll help you do that is to be competent. If you're competent and you know it, you don't have to prove anything. Which brings us to the third factor I think is really important, which is training. If you gain competence, you gain confidence. And I think it's important to recognize the difference between training and practice. I've had a lot of people tell me, I train weekly. Probably not. You may go to the range and shoot weekly, but James Yeager said it this way, and I really like that training is done under the watchful eye of a competent instructor, and that teaches you what to practice and how to practice. So you're not practicing bad habits and you're not reinforcing bad habits. So I really recommend that anybody who's going to carry a weapon invest in some quality training. I really think that I wish that everybody who sells pistols would go ahead and mark the price up enough to cover a training class, and then go ahead and give them a certificate for a training class, a competent training class, like fighting pistol. When they've already paid for it. So there you go. Because once people buy guns, it seems like they just don't want to invest the money to train. I know it's money. I know times are tough, but we're talking about a deadly weapon. I don't think it should be required. Don't go there. I believe that shall not be infringed means shall not be infringed. But another thing as far as training to really be aware of is everybody wants to train on marksmanship, and marksmanship is important. You need to hit what you're shooting at. But in my opinion, from a concealed carry standpoint, gun handling is just as important as marksmanship. If you can't draw your pistol or your weapon and put it into action competently, quickly, and smoothly, you may not get the chance to display any of that expert marksmanship you've been working on so diligently over the years. And to that end, I think one more thing to talk about in training is to invest in training tools. I've got this trainer knife. It's the same as a knife that I have to try to learn to use the knife as a weapon. And I bought this blue gun here. This is a weighted 43X blue gun, Glock 43X, so it's the same pistol I'm carrying every day right now, and it allows me to safely practice my gun handling anywhere in the house. Number 5 is don't fixate on your gun or your knife. No matter how much you've trained, you may not ever get the opportunity to put that into play. You might have to go hands-on. You might have to do other things. There's a saying that, here's a paraphrase anyway, from Abraham Maslow: to a man with only a hammer, everything looks like a nail. If you're fixated on that knife or the gun or whatever, then you may miss other opportunities that present themselves to defend yourself, or other options. John Steinbeck said the final weapon is the brain, all else is supplemental. So don't fixate on that weapon. Be aware of it and be competent with it, but just realize you may have other options that are even better. And finally, number 5, again, you might have to go hands-on, so you need to make sure that your fitness level is adequate. Know your limitations. I'm like myself. I'm older than I was, and in my mind, I'm still 25, but in my knees, not so much so. So recognize where you're at, and then be willing to take steps to correct that. Strong people are harder to kill. Strength is important. You need to have enough strength to be able to do what you need to do. Cardio is important. If you don't believe me, find a heavy bag and really try punching on it for 2 straight minutes and see how tired you are. And then 3rd, work on explosive action. So you want to get your strength, your cardio, and your dynamic ability down. Pat McNamara has some great videos. On explosive action training. So those are the 5 things: mindset, de-escalation, training, don't fixate on your knife or gun, and fitness. Let me just wrap this up and go see my grandson. Guns and other weapons are not magic charms. In fact, they're dangerous tools, and we, as carriers of those weapons, have a responsibility to ourselves and others to become as competent and safe with them as possible. So, I hope this rambling video has spurred you to a little self-reflection, and maybe to think about some of these things, and to work on shoring up any weaknesses that you have in your self-defense kind of a toolbox. So we'll get back to some review videos and knife stuff next time. I just really thought this was something that I felt like needed to be shared. I hope this has been helpful. I really sincerely appreciate you watching Survival on Purpose. Remember, survival is not an accident, so be prepared. I'll see you next time.